Hello, everybody. It's Tony with Big T Bariatric, and I'm here with a live stream. And I got my friend Derek with me. Say hello, Derek.
Hello, Derek.
I don't know if anybody's with us yet. Oh, it says there's 3 people watching, so we'll just kind of hang out for a moment and see if other people pop on here.
Ooh,
How's
that's
your
close
day
to an
going,
all-time
brother?
high, right?
What?
That's close to an all-time high with 3 people.
Yeah, all-time high. We always have the biggest audience when you're on, so.
I mean, it's just because of my charm and my beard.
How's your day going so far?
Not too bad. Yeah, it's Florida, so it's rainy and humid and hot.
Hmm. You have to move back to Minnesota, I guess.
Eh, I mean, yes, but no.
Are you kind of like wanting to move back, but I know you can't for personal
No,
reasons?
I mean, I'll be happy with Florida, especially once I get through my first summer or two.
Yeah, that's always tough. I mean, I grew up in Texas, and when I moved to Michigan, I was like, wow, the weather's so much better here in Michigan. And I had my first winter ever, so I was like, man, I was loving winter. And then, after a few of those, I'm like, man, I don't like winter anymore. But when I did move back down to Texas, I was like, I can't stand this heat. Like, I didn't notice the heat when I was a kid, but then when I moved
Yeah.
back after living in Michigan for a while, it's like I noticed it, and I
Hmm.
was like, I still can't stand the winter though, but I'd rather live here than down south. I'd rather deal with the winter than the summer in the south.
Yeah. Looks like we got some people. We got Huntress Drusilla Nightshade, which is a fun name.
Hi Huntress, hi Nye, Carol, Austin, Chrissy, Penguin, welcome. We have a new setup here.
I'm liking this. I can see the comments right on the sidebar, which is awesome.
It looks like I'm just kind of watching the stream on the other tab, and it looks like it's not as clear as I would like it to be. Maybe I'll have to go through and check out settings. Maybe it's not streaming at a high end setting. I don't know.
Hmm.
Let me see. Oh, it's at standard def. Okay. I moved it up to high def. Let's see if that's better. Let's see if that works better.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, I think.
Hi, Darla. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining us today. I'm just kind of testing different times. I am moving the big talks with Big T to Saturdays um, because Wednesday nights hardly anybody was showing up, and it's midweek. During the evening when everybody would rather not be doing this, and the last few times I was doing it, I was exhausted, like nearly nodding out. Maybe because it was my friend Scout talking and she bored me or something. I don't know, but I figured moving it to Saturday, maybe we can get more people on. So we're trying noon because I know some of my subscribers are from the other side of the world, and they're like, Big T, 7 o'clock p.m. is too late for us. We can't join. So we're just kind of seeing what a happy medium is for everybody. So we'll see how many people join today. And so, Derek, yeah, last time I had you on, you're talking about weight loss surgery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now with all of that?
So I'm in the thick of, all the appointments and everything. So I've seen the nurse practitioner, the psychologist, the dietitian, the surgeon, and I have follow-up appointments with them all in the end of this month. Checking off things, getting labs, getting things done, changing up the diet a little bit, trying to lose a little bit of weight, boxes I need to check off so that we can proceed.
Did they give you any kind of a monthly weight goal or anything like that?
So total weight goal is 25 pounds.
Okay.
So we're
Does it like
moving and
matter
just
how much you lose per month? Is your
no,
insurance making you wait 6 months, or how's all
nope.
that
There's
going?
no wait month either. She said that the surgeon said that she's done them in as soon as 3 months, but typically just to get everything done, it's 4 to 6 months to kind of go through all
Okay.
the hoops.
So you don't have to lose anything per month. It's just lose 25 total within the next few months, I guess.
Yep, exactly.
And how are you finding that? Are you having a
Well,
difficult time sort of getting
it
ramped up?
had been, yeah, I'd been pretty static, and then on Tuesday I went sugar free,
Hmm.
and so I'm going refined sugar, added sugar.
Yeah,
And in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in 5 days, I'm down 9.5 pounds.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I know that at some point it's gonna like just tableau and even itself out, but I'll take it while I can get it.
Yeah, because at first, if you haven't noticed yet, you're probably peeing a lot, so you're dropping a lot of water. Because
Mhm.
when you have carbohydrates and sugar in your system, it holds on to water. I think it's
Yeah.
like 2 grams of water for every no two. It's something like every gram of carb is like holds on to 2 grams of water, something like that.
Dang.
So if you think of how many grams of carbs people eat every single day and how much water that
Mhm.
holds on to, as soon as you start cutting that out of your diet, your body just drops that water. So
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people struggle is once they start dropping that water and they notice, oh wow, I lost 10 pounds this week. It's
Mhm.
doing awesome. Then the next week they don't lose hardly anything, and that's because their body doesn't want them to drop water because it dehydrates them, so it tries to hold
Yeah.
on to water. And so the scale's not moving. They freak out like, oh, well, this diet's not working. I'm not dropping anything on the scale. You're still losing fat, but your body's trying to hold on to water. And so it tries to balance itself out. And
Yeah.
so that's where I think a lot of people end up failing on their diets. They can do it about a week, but then if they don't see any results in that second week, they're like, this isn't working. Let me try to
Yeah.
find something else. Before that they know it, they're back binge eating and everything else. Have you had any desires to kind of go back and binge eat, or how are you
Well,
handling
let me
temptation?
tell you, yesterday was National Donut Day. So have I had desires? Yes. And we were at our small group Bible study last night, and one of the person made like homemade macarons, and they looked delicious, and everyone was raving about them. And I was like, no, and I didn't. My plan is I'm going sugar free for 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, it's going to be reduced sugar.
Yeah.
So like, if I had one macaron, that'd be fine. Like a little bit here or there, but like not, going back to it. But I'm like, for the first month, I want to be really hard line, no. And I know, Huntress, it was evil that it was National Donut Day. I almost killed for a donut. If you do kill for a donut, make sure that you have a solid alibi first, not because your threat's recorded, but it's all good. But yeah, so I see Huntress is starting sugar free too. I it picked up some like sugar free. Sugar is in everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like ketchup. I found some no sugar added ketchup, and it's okay. It's not quite as good as ketchup, but it's good. Some no sugar added barbecue sauce. Even looking at like my salad dressing and finding one that doesn't have any sugar in it. Finding some like protein bars to eat that don't have sugar, and like really reading the labels. What the dietitian had told me was, natural sugar is fine. So natural sugar is good. Look for things with 8 grams or less of natural sugar. So, look at the label and see a lot of labels will have sugar, and then right below that it'll have added sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And you want that added sugar to be 0 or, as close to it as you can.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I learned too with those packages. If it said no sugar added, I still tried to steer away from some of that because it still had sugar in it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it kind of tricks you sometimes if you're like, oh, this doesn't have any sugar, it's no sugar added, but then it's still packed with sugar. They just didn't add any additional sugar on top of it, like certain yogurts and stuff like that.
I mean, the good thing about like the sugar and fruits and vegetables and things is they have vitamins and minerals in them,
Mm-hmm.
where, sucralose, our table sugar or white sugar or crack cocaine sugar, that doesn't have any vitamins or minerals in it. So there's no nutritional value for it.
Mm-hmm. So how's Amber handling this new change? Is she doing it with you, or is she doing her own thing, or?
She's doing it ish. I mean, not going sugar free, but eating things I'm making, like supportive and somewhat. I think her goal for this month is to reduce sugar, not necessarily eliminate it.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm sure that'll help her out too with her physical issues and
Yeah. Well, like
because
sugar's an inflammatory
it is,
too.
yeah,
So,
big time. Yeah, I tell that to my mom all the time because she's a big sugar fiend at times, and I'm like, you have fibromyalgia, and if you cut back on the sugar, it won't cure it, but it'll help because it inflames your body to every degree,
mhm.
and it just the impact sugar has on our body is just disgusting.
I've started reading a book called The Case Against Sugar
Hmm.
by Gary Taubes. And it's pretty interesting. Just talking about like the history of sugar and how just like they used to add sugar to cigarettes
Hmm.
to make them more like palatable and easy to go down. And just how like sugar triggers the opioid receptors in your brain. So like sugar is a drug. Like Penguin says that crack sugar is the best. It is like you get pleasure. I mean, in the book, they're talking about when you see a baby who's never had sugar and on like their year birthday, when they give them a cake to smash, and just that look of pure joy, pure ecstasy you see as they smash that cake, like, and then they want more sugar and more sugar because it's addictive.
It is. I see Kathy, you're a new subscriber. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I did a video on sugar not too long ago, and somebody was like, "There's nothing wrong with sugar. It's not unhealthy for you." I'm like, "What?" It's like there's
I
just
would
this
say
pure
natural
denial.
sugar.
It's this there's this pure denial from people
Yeah.
that, and I'm talking about refined
Yeah.
sugar,
Well,
not
exactly. I think
natural
like if
sugar.
you
But
distinguish, you can say natural sugar, there's nothing wrong with, but refined sugar is, I mean, 0 calories, zero nutritional um, help, and it just inflames your body, makes you addicted. Like it's a legal drug.
if everybody can do me a favor right now, just like this live stream, and we'll see if we can't get more people in here. Appreciate it. Thank you guys. Yeah, Huntress brought up the point that there are probably hundreds of names for sugar,
Mhm.
and so even if you like look on a label and it might have sugar listed on there, there can be hidden
Yeah.
sugars.
Mhm.
Have you been kind of looking at different names for sugar just to kind of be more careful with that, or?
Yeah, I mean, like the common ones, like there are hundreds of names. There's sucrose, there's fructose, there's cane sugar, there's beet sugar, there's corn syrup, there's all the things. So definitely looking out, and then even when you go with sugar substitutes, they're not all created equal, right? Like
Yeah.
aspartame is not great. What my dietitian said was like aspartame is okay. In moderate amounts, it's fine. So like you can have your one, diet Pepsi a day or whatnot, it's going to be fine. But too much of that, and it's going to start causing issues too. I found there's the sugar alcohols
Hmm.
are used in a lot of things like sugar free. They're sugar free alcohols, and they getting a little personal. They upset my tummy,
Hmm.
and like that's apparently a big issue. That if you have too much of those sugar alcohols, they will make you pray to the porcelain god for a while.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I started getting into using lifesavers, if you know that candy.
That's
Um,
where I found out that it didn't work for me.
yeah, having ADHD, it's you always like to fiddle with something, and
Mhm.
for me, like if I have something in my mouth, like a little piece of candy or something, it kind of takes away some of that fiddling need. And so I started like using lifesavers just when I'm at church or somewhere like that. I'd take them to work, and I'm like, I'm just sucking down so many. It's 3 grams of sugar per little lifesaver, and I was having like 5 to 10 of them, just in a couple hour span, just because it's like, it's one of those things, it's a mindless thing. I just keep popping them in
Mhm.
my mouth because it's like, I just need something to fiddle around with. Um, and then so I was like, all right, mom, if you can grab me some sugar-free ones. So let's say
Mhm.
that first day at work with the sugar-free lifesavers was not a good time for me, but
Yep.
For me, stevia has been the best
Mhm.
sugar substitute. And somebody asked me the other day about what I thought about diet sodas, and I'm like, if you're drinking a lot of soda and you're trying to cut back and you're trying to cut sugar out of your diet, it's fine to switch to diet for a little bit. But if you're drinking 10 sodas a day and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna switch to diet because that's much healthier for me, and you're drinking 10 diet sodas, that's not going to be a good thing.
No.
Because it can become addictive. It can cause just as many issues, and they're finding that people are gaining weight drinking diet soda because it's just it kind of doesn't do much for you. Just
Yeah, I
the
mean,
chemicals and
yeah, I was gonna say besides the aspartame, it's just chemicals and
yeah.
things, and it's another thing that has zero added nutrients. Like one thing that I'm trying to really do is be intentional and mindful about what I'm eating, and like, is what I'm eating going to give benefit to my body or not?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many things that just don't give benefit, and why are we filling ourselves with crud? I mean, going random tangent, like that's how we should live our life, like spiritually and
Mm-hmm.
relationally too, right? Like I think that's a whole mindset we should have is what I'm filling into my life, into my body, into my relationships. Is that promoting growth, healthy,
Mm-hmm.
going somewhere, or is it just poison?
Yeah, I mean that's 100% true right there. It's like, how does this benefit me beyond just giving me pleasure and making me feel good? Because a lot of that stuff can ruin your life. Like we're constantly like pursuing pleasure because a lot of people, especially if you're like me and you have ADHD, it's like you don't have enough dopamine receptors, and so it's very easy for people who have or who are not I don't know what the word is for it, neurodivergent or whatever it is.
Mhm.
They tend to have a comorbidity with obesity because they are easily trying to seek pleasure, and they do that with sugar and foods and certain stuff like that. So that's what I've been learning in my life is, what benefits me and makes me how what makes me healthy more than it makes me happy. you know Being happy is great. Everybody's chasing
Mhm.
happiness, but down the line, years later, you get to be almost 700 pounds, and it's like, yeah, chasing that is not a good thing. I need to be
Mhm.
chasing what's good for me and what's ultimately going to be healthy for me, because if I'm healthy, I'm going to be pretty happy because it's going to regulate my brain, my mood. It's going to make me feel better overall, versus eating a bunch of crap and garbage, because garbage in, garbage out, right? Like,
Mhm.
just whatever you put into your body is what's going to manifest within your life, within your brain. It's going to cause all sorts of issues. And so that's why we do see an increase in anxiety and depression and all kinds of issues like that, along with obesity. So not only is obesity skyrocketing, and so is disease, and so is mental illness. And I believe a lot of that has to do with diet. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, in this book I'm reading about sugar, it was talking about how diabetes was almost unheard of in like native populations
Mm-hmm.
until like the 70s when they started really integrating into eating processed food. And like in China, they used to not have like any diabetes either until Western food hit there.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's everywhere and it's a pandemic. It was really interesting. They were talking about how this doctor had written stuff in like the 1870s about how diabetes was becoming an epidemic, because this doctor had went from seeing diabetes of two patients in like 27 years with to one diabetes. And he was talking about how like
Wow.
this is crazy, this is an epidemic, we need to do something. And now it's 1 in 9 people that have diabetes. So like there's something messed up going on that in what we eat. So yeah, we really need to examine that and say, is this going to, it's easy to think, oh, this food is just going to affect, one aspect of my life, but it's a Venn diagram that has all the overlapping circles, and it doesn't just
Mm-hmm.
affect one thing. It, affects everything.
Yeah, I mean, just what you're just saying there is so impactful, because in Asia, they haven't fully adopted a Western diet yet. and they are still some of the healthiest people who do not deal with obesity nearly as much as we do. But we can sort of see where the Western diet and the Western lifestyle is expanding into the rest of the world. It's seeping into Europe and even Africa and South America, where obesity is skyrocketing there. As
Yeah.
we start building McDonald's and stuff all over the world, even in India, there's all these places in obesity skyrocketing. But in Asia, it's still largely untouched. It's starting to seep over there as well, but you could just see where the Eastern diet is still really has a strong hold over there, and then all these diseases and obesity hasn't really taken off like it has here. So I really feel for the rest of the world, because it's almost like a pandemic is sort of spreading, and it's but it's obesity. It's not a virus.
Well, and what sucks is go to the store with $5 and like one bag of lettuce, or I can walk out with, a frozen pizza, personal size, a bag of chips and a pop, like things that are packaged with that preservatives, with the sugar, with the bad stuff cost so much more than the fresh, healthy stuff that actually nourishes you.
So lately, I haven't been doing so well. I talked before, just financially, I was really struggling, as you know, and they really cut our food stamps down and everything else. And so I was buying a lot of crap food. And so my weight loss has really stalled out. And then when I started working financially, I'm getting a little better with things. I'm still trying to catch up on old bills and stuff that I've been behind on for so long. But then in comes the office lifestyle, which I'm sure you know very well. The kind of eating that takes place at an office. And we started like cooking out like every lunch period. We were ordering out Mexican food, or we were cooking a bunch of stuff, and there's potato salad and everything else. And almost quite frequently in the mornings, there'd be donuts. And so I found myself partaking in that and just noticing a huge difference from when I was dieting and when I was losing weight after weight loss surgery and doing great. I was feeling so much better. But since I started just kind of going back to eating crap because I couldn't afford to eat healthy, or now that I'm part of an office lifestyle, just really like being sluggish during the afternoon. As soon as I'd eat that donut or whatever, just feeling really, really crappy. So now I'm thinking of ways of just bringing my own food, just starting out with protein in the morning. I'm not going to eat breakfast, but maybe at lunchtime, bring in some protein I could throw on the grill, or maybe some turkey sticks or something, and then just kind of sticking with protein and cutting that out of my diet. So, as somebody who's worked in an office for a long time, do you have any advice on how to do that?
I think the biggest thing is sticking to it. It's so easy to say, well, this lunch I brought will be fine tomorrow, and I'm just going to eat this pizza they brought in or whatnot. And like being like having that hard line. So for me, I am an all or nothing guy, right?
Yeah.
I either need to do it or not do it. So I need to, because if I dabble my toes in just a little bit, suddenly I'm standing waist deep in the water and I don't know how it happened. So having that hard line that, oh, it's great, this pizza smells great, but I'm going to go eat my lunch outside away from this temptation. And thinking of ways to kind of remove yourself from that situation, and just stick with the commitment you made. And just sitting in the office, try to, get up every hour and a half to just walk to, the bathroom, or walk to a window, or, just trying to get some movement in. Because even movement helps, with your metabolism, and helps get things just moving again.
Yeah. Yeah, that sitting in a chair all day long is killing my neck really bad. So I try to stand up at least every hour, kind of walk across the office, walk around, walk back, maybe stand for a few minutes, stretch. So I try to do that every hour. But what you said about just you bring a lunch, but okay, I could keep it for tomorrow. I can have this pizza. It's funny because I'd bring a lean cuisine on Monday and it'd still be there on Friday because they'd they'd have donuts or they'd be doing something else for lunch every day. So I had a lean cuisine just stuck in the freezer,
Yeah.
because that was they always had something else for lunch. But every day that went by, I felt more and more guilty because I'm like, I should have eaten that lean cuisine and not had the pizza or the hot dogs or whatever they were doing that day. So yeah, that's a big one. I mean, you could just walk into the break room and it's just full of all kinds of food that I shouldn't be eating. And
Yeah.
and this
Well,
isn't
Huntress says avoid the break room. That is something I used to do. I would keep a bag at my desk with healthy snacks and eat my lunch outside or at my desk so I wasn't staring at all the food that was left out. Good idea for me. What I found is having a bag of snacks at my desk is not, even if they're healthy, it's not good because, I'll be working on something and just as we go. So having snacks is great. Maybe find if there is some place that you can store them in your office that's not at your desk, even if it's, at a filing cabinet behind your desk or something where you have to physically move and just don't bend over. I found for me just hair is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out, and I'm totally not blaming anybody else at the office. Everybody's gonna have their own
It's the
lifestyle and
donut
what they want
man.
to do.
It's
It's
his
a,
fault.
it's definitely my responsibility. What I eat, and I really need to jump back into it, whatever it takes, and continue losing weight. Because they say you only have about a year to 18 months after weight loss surgery for that to really supercharge your weight loss, so to speak. And so I feel like I've wasted the last few months just because first I couldn't financially do it, and then now I'm being stuck in an office lifestyle. So it's like I need to, my goal is to lose another 100 pounds before summer's over. So I really need to do something like go keto or low carb, something really drastic like that, and really stick with it. So um,
Chandra just said something that gave me an idea. She said, "My rule is no eating work food ever. No exceptions, no excuses." One thing that I think could be helpful too is have maybe in the work freezer like a couple of desserts that you can eat that are healthy-ish. And if they pull out cake for someone's birthday, you can sit there and celebrate with them, but you pull out your own dessert, so you're partaking, but you're not partaking. I think like that's a great idea too, to have something so that because eating is more, especially at work, it's a social thing,
mhm.
right? Like you gather together, you chat, you bond over food. So sometimes it's really hard because you want to be a part of that team, you want to
Yeah.
be a part of that community, but you don't want to, be eating what they're eating. So finding a way to, have something, some sweets, some whatever that you can eat and you're there, you're a part of it, but you're not a part of it, I think can be really helpful as well.
Yeah, and a lot of it for me wasn't the bonding part because I still don't really know people too
Yeah.
well there. So I think for me, and I think most of them too, we just like grab our food and then go back to the table or go back to our desk and eat it. Because most of the time it's like they wouldn't even go shopping until it was lunch break, so the food wouldn't be ready until lunch break was over. So I'd just go
Mm,
out to my truck, which I do every lunch. I go out to my truck because I can't sit in my office chair a second longer than I need to. So,
mm.
and then by the time I get back, the food's ready. Grab a plate, go back to my desk, and continue working. But yeah, I just kind of need to stick with some kind of protein lunch and not have what everybody else is having.
Mhm. Yeah, Chandra's idea about like having a cup of tea with them is a great idea too. So you're
Mhm.
there, you have something to eat to bring to your lips because we just are addicted to that, but it's
Yeah.
something that's not going to, ruin us. Also, Vlad, I lived in Minnesota and we had a Tim Hortons for a while. It ended up closing, and it was the saddest thing ever because Tim Hortons Timbits, especially their birthday cake Timbits, I mean, I'm drooling right now.
Can you say Minnesota like that again?
Minnesota, don't you know? So here in Minnesota, we like to go water skiing and ice fishing, and I can just talk Minnesota.
Yeah, there's a Tim Hortons here in my town, and I love their ice caps. Those are so good. But I haven't had one in such a long time. I'm sure they're packed with sugar too.
Mm-hmm. So, Tony, you're saying that, you're ready to kickstart your diet. What are you looking at doing to try to kickstart some things?
I definitely need to do more exercise. I still keep pushing that off. Mainly because I'm still in a lot of pain. I still have some back pain and knee pain, and so going for walks was difficult. I did it for about a week, and then because it's like in spring we had one nice week of weather and it was in the 80s, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go for a walk. And then very next week, you know how it's like living in the north, it got really rainy and cold for
Mm-hmm.
a couple more weeks after that. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna wait again until it gets nice. Well, it's nice. I haven't gone back out because I did start working and I'm exhausted every single day when I get home, because this is my first time working a real 8 to 5 job every single day in like 10 years. So I'm still kind of getting used to it, but I'm still plumb exhausted when I get home mentally and physically. So I don't feel like exercising at all, but I
Vlad
need
has a
to.
great idea. Is there a pool nearby? And to expand on that is pool therapy is great. Like I actually went through that when I was having back issues. So see your doctor and get a referral for physical therapy, pool therapy,
Mhm.
and some of the physical therapy places you go one-on-one in a pool, and you have so much help you with like some exercise. So I think that is if you're having pain on your feet, moving, pool therapy is a great way to get some of that stamina back.
There is a pool at a gym near me, but it's like it's expensive, and I have to be under 450 to get into their pool. So that's probably something that'll happen in a few months once
Yeah, well,
I.
and even if you try like pool therapy, that's physical therapy where your insurance should cover that.
Mhm. Well, this is a gym. Like
Yeah.
there isn't a physical therapy place around near me that has a pool,
Mhm.
but there's like YMCA's and stuff, but that's in Flint. I
Yeah.
ain't going to Flint to swim. Um,
Amber wanted to know, I just lost it, is what are some of your go-to and creative snacks?
um, again, I'm gonna have to figure that out. But when I'm doing really good, usually turkey sticks. They're like little turkey sticks
Mhm.
you could buy at the store. But it's like I don't even finish that package because the first few taste good, but then they start getting gross for some reason. So I really need to find a protein type snack. Since having surgery, I don't like lunch meat, deli meat anymore for some reason. It all just tastes like garbage to me. I used to love salami, but not after surgery. It killed my stomach, and it tastes gross to me now. So um,
Mhm.
I don't know what it is about it, but it's. I recently learned that it's not real lunch meat. It's like they liquefy something and then they press it into the shape of like a big ham or something, and then when they slice it, it's made to look like regular lunch meat. But if you know from like Thanksgiving when you cut turkey and make turkey like that, it's not sliced the same way that it is at a deli, so it's not
Mhm.
even real good food for you, and it's full of preservatives and garbage. So um, I'm still kind of researching what to do for snacking and stuff like that. We can snack at our desk, um, but I'm gonna try to stay away from that the best that I can.
Mhm.
So I'm mostly looking for what I can take to lunch and then what to have for dinner when I get home. I work till 5, so um, usually that's around dinner time, and I'm hungry by the time I get home. And so what I started doing was lean cuisines. I could take one, microwave it, and then come home, and then
Mhm.
I can microwave another lean cuisine. But I want to get away from the preservatives, and it's frozen food, and there's a lot of carbohydrates in them, and some sugar. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to. One of the things I want to buy here probably this month is a grill, so that I can, maybe just grill a couple of hamburgers, and then I could, or just chicken breast or something, and grill one for dinner, take one to work the next day, that kind of thing. That's just kind of what I'm
Yeah.
thinking right now.
Even look at like a George Foreman grill or something to set on your countertop. Like those work really well too to, press it.
Yeah. I'm really not having a good time with protein lately, um, but if it's grilled, it really has that flamed taste that I really love, and I could eat that like crazy. But for
Yeah.
some reason, I don't even like chicken anymore. Like it's
Mm.
just I don't know. I don't know if it's the stuff that they're putting in it or what. It's just I don't even like chicken. It's like just
One thing.
everything's changing. Like my
Mhm.
the way I eat, and I can only eat a little bit of protein too, and it fills me up way faster than if I have something else. Maybe fish. Fish is good, and being here around the Great Lakes, there's plenty of salmon and stuff. So,
Lucy says hi.
well, hi, Lucy.
One thing that I've been doing every morning that has really helped is for my breakfast to kind of start the day full. Is I bought some Jimmy Dean's turkey sausage that was already cooked, and I just throw that in a little skillet, and I throw in a couple handfuls of spinach that I tear up, and use the spinach and turkey sausage. I cook that a little bit, and then I crack 2 eggs in it, and throw in a little bit of cheese and a bunch of hot sauce because I love my hot sauce, and have pretty much like an egg omelet ish with that spinach and some protein, and that's really helping keeping me full till lunch.
I didn't know that I could do this. I can click on a
Yeah,
comment and it shows up on the screen.
that's neat. I wonder if I can do that. Am I?
You're not cool like me.
No, I'm not cool like you. I don't have the power.
So I wanted to show you, Vlad, from this comment. I did buy one of these. It's a Yeti water thing. So I take one of these to work. I fill it up twice. So I do drink plenty of fluids every day. That's not the issue. It's just staying away from carbohydrates is what I need to do. And like you said, cook. I need to cook my meals, like not microwave them. If I'm microwaving it, then it's probably something I shouldn't be eating. I mean, that's just my general rule. I mean, if you don't agree with that, that's perfectly fine. You're totally okay microwaving your own dinners, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't want to microwave stuff because if I do, it's probably packed with chemicals and preservatives. And I want to go as healthy and natural and whole foods as I can get. Boiled eggs too. I love boiled eggs, and with a bit of seasoned avocado mash, and it's so delicious. Yeah, I started eating guacamole with my scrambled eggs, and that was a pretty good snack. So, oh, were you gonna say something?
I was just going to respond to this comment about nuts. Like that's what I've been told too. Is nuts can be really good, but very moderation because they do have a lot of fat in them and a lot of other things. So, and it's really easy just to eat a whole can of nuts at once. And so they do have good stuff in them, but they also can be dangerous. So don't eat too many of them.
I'm not a nut person. I don't eat nuts.
You're pretty nutty, Tony.
I found them pretty gross, so I've never eaten nuts. I can handle regular peanuts, but like pecans and almonds, like I'm not a fan of nuts. So Carol says carbohydrates are not necessarily bad. Quinoa, sweet potatoes,
Quinoa.
brown rice. Huh?
That's quinoa.
Quinoa, okay. Quinoa. I mean, it depends on the person's diet, Definitely
brown rice is pretty
carbohydrates.
good for you.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than white rice.
Yeah.
Lucy, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, Lucy.
She wants to know who's going to feed her. We're talking about not eating, Lucy. You need to listen to this.
Lucy needs to go on a diet.
No, actually, Charlie does, our big fat tabby. Lucy needs to eat more.
So, what are you looking forward to with weight loss surgery?
The non-scale victories, I think. The not waking up with back pain. Because when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I can't do anything for an hour until like I'm able to move again. Being able to sit in any chair and not worried about, is my butt going to fit? Is that going to be comfortable or not? Like those kind of things, like just being more comfortable in my body. But it's not even like losing weight that matters, but it's you said, not having pain, not having my knees click every time, just feeling better.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm testing to see if these comments show up on the actual YouTube page or if it's just here on the chat.
Lucy showing her butt to the world. Come on, girl. You're going to get us kicked off. Does it show up in the chat, or is it just you and I that see it?
I don't know. It's not, I don't see it showing up.
Have you guys been seeing comments floating across the screen? Because Tony's making comments dance like sugar plum fairies.
This is a very first time using the software, and it's pretty awesome.
They can see it, Tony.
All right, cool. I couldn't see it on my screen, but okay, cool. But your back's still going to hurt because you're carrying all that sexiness around with you. So
I know, right?
It's still going to have a burden on you.
That'll be, a burden of goodness. I was going to say burden of love, but that sounded even creepier. So,
well, just keep telling your wife that. She might believe it one day.
Exactly.
So are you actually nervous about your surgery, or are you more excited about it?
I'm more excited. I want to check off the boxes and get going. I'm one of those guys that once I decide I want to do something, I just want to do it and go forward and get it done. And beauty does weigh heavy on those who can carry it.
Nightlights in a jacuzzi. She just thought that we should know that.
I'm not in a jacuzzi.
I am.
I can see it.
Oh, she's at work right now. Okay.
Works in a jacuzzi. That's fun.
Yep. That's her old job, just floating in a jacuzzi, drinking champagne, even though she's not old enough yet. So dieting, exercise. Are you doing any exercises, going for walks? What are you trying to do there?
So I've had a wound on my big toe since November. I was actually hospitalized because it got infected.
I remember
and working on getting it healed. It still isn't quite healed. It's a lot better, but it's not quite there yet. So I'm trying to limit my walk. I mean, I still move around, but I'm not like going on walks and things. And with my back too, if I'm on my feet too much, it really starts to hurt. One thing I have that I haven't been consistent in using that I want to is DDP yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like the chair exercise program. And I feel like that'll be really beneficial. I just need to like commit to start doing that.
Yeah. I did DDP yoga for a little bit, and it was weird. Like you're just kind of doing these stretches and poses and stuff, but it would say I was burning like 400 calories and during one exercise phase. And I'm like, is that true? Like, am I really burning that many calories doing some of these stretches? But I guess people are losing all kinds of weight doing DDP yoga. Yeah. So it must be.
Mm-hmm. Yoga is great for so many things.
Sandra says, I bake 5 large chicken breasts at the beginning of the week. You can make each day interesting by adding cheese one day, sugar-free barbecue the next day. Dice it up and add celery and mayo. Oh, I was going to tell you, there is a certain kind of barbecue sauce.
I found one that looked good. I'm trying to think. It was like G. Hughes or something he used.
See if I can find it.
Apparently, Sweet Baby Ray's has a sugar-free.
Yeah, it's G. Hughes.
Yeah, that's the one.
No sugar-free barbecue sauce. That stuff tasted great. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend that. I might get some of that. But yeah, hopefully this month I'll have a few extra bucks that I can buy a grill and just grilled chicken, like couple chicken breasts, a couple burgers, whatever, and then that'll be dinner. And
Mhm.
take some chicken tenderloin or breast to work, and that'll be my lunch. And since weight loss surgery, they say not to eat so many raw vegetables. That kind of limits what I can eat. Like I'd enjoy some celery and peanut butter or something like that, but
Mm.
it's not.
Well, what you got to do is you got to buy a juicer and juice your celery and juice your peanut butter, and
And
there you
juice my
go.
chicken.
Yeah. Although the hack I like for cooking chicken is throwing it in a crock pot with some chicken stock for like 4 to 6 hours, and then you have like shredded chicken that's perfect that you can use on all sorts of things.
Vlad says he does the same thing for burgers. Cooks half a dozen patties, lean beef mixed with horse, fry them up, and make some homemade burgers. Better than Five Guys. I didn't know that you eat horse, Vlad. That's okay.
Maybe he's just neighing with you. I'm trying to think of a pun, but it's not coming. If he ate goat, baby goat, he could be kitting around, but that's what I got. I think in puns. I'm not really sorry.
You're right, Carol. Maintaining healthy eating and weight is a daily effort and battle for some. Even after you have weight loss surgery, people say that it's the easy way out. It's not the easy way out. It is still just as hard because my mom actually pulled me aside a few days ago and was like, Tony, I could tell you're really stressed out because you're stress eating again and like buying crap that I shouldn't be buying, like ice cream and eating ice cream and ordering out more often now that I have a little cash. And I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm stress eating again because life is getting weird and difficult right now and in a lot of pain. And I'm working and going back to college, and I'm going to start teaching Sunday school at church again here soon. And, I'm just doing YouTube on top of all of it. It's very, very busy, and I'm very exhausted and stressed out. And I got debts I'm trying to pay back, and there's a lot of stress. And so how I handled stress in the past was eating. So even after weight loss surgery, you're still going to have the same temptations. You're still going to want to desire certain food. You're still going to be tempted by the ads on TV. If you are trying to cope with stuff and you use food for coping, you're still going to want to use food for coping. So the only good thing that the weight loss surgery does is it's going to restrict how much you can eat at one time. So even though I did have ice cream last night after dinner, it's a very limited amount of ice cream compared to an entire bowl of ice cream. So you're going to be able to have some sort of moderation, which is what happens when you don't have weight loss surgery. Is you're more susceptible to eating gobs and gobs of food. You really can't binge eat after weight loss surgery. So that's the difference. But you're still going to be tackled with temptation and stuff. So is there any part of you that is thinking that you might need some sort of therapy or anything to help you deal with coping issues or anything like that? Or do you think it's you're bigger for a different reason?
Both. I mean, I think that stress does play a part of it for sure. What I eat does play a part of it, but also like having health issues where I have limited mobility and things that plays into it. Biology plays into it. It's so multifaceted. So I think that watching your diet and eating well and doing mindful eating is a huge part of it, but it's not the only part of it.
Yeah. Yep. And that's where I think a lot of people get to too. It's very easy to just stress eat or mindlessly eat when they're sitting at the couch at night and they've had a long day and they just don't even realize that they're eating a whole thing of chips or something.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, it's definitely going to be a journey for both of us. Maybe we'll check in here, and I'll check in with you, and you can check in with me in about a week and see how things go. I get my food stamps on Monday, so that's when I'm gonna grocery shop and get the proteins that I need and go from there.
And look around at different grocery stores in your area. The way this is something that I've learned is kind of cool. The way grocery stores work is they're going to have something in their ad that's called a loss leader. It's like Costco with their rotisserie chickens. It's a loss leader. They actually lose money on their rotisserie chickens, but they get you in the door and they put it at the very back of the store where you have to walk by everything else, and you end up walking out with way more than they lost on that chicken. So a lot of stores will do a loss leader that week, whether it's chicken, beef, pork. There'll be something in the ad that's pretty cheap, and that's to get you in the store to buy other stuff. But if you are intentional about what you're planning, what you're looking for, you can typically, if you look at a few different grocery stores, find protein on sale for pretty good.
That's great. Yeah, I had no idea about that. I knew about the power of perimeter, but I didn't know about the loss leader stuff.
Yeah, so they'll have like one or two things. Like those some sales, you're like, that's so ridiculously cheap. How am I getting eggs or butter for 99 cents or whatever? And they're doing these things that they're losing money on, knowing that you're going to get in the store and buy more than they lost.
Yeah, that's good advice, Brenda. I'm gonna have to, like, during lunch break too, just kind of go for a short walk, just to kind of get me out, and I don't want to get too smelly before going back to work for the second half of the day. But a little short walk shouldn't kill me too bad.
Just keep a change of clothes, in case you sweat too much or pee yourself, and you're good to go.
Vlad says, I deal with stress by taking control of something, anything, fix something, go for a run. I complete a 3K. I'm back in the driver's seat. Can't avoid stress. Better to confront it. Okay. Yeah, that's something somebody told me too. It's like, okay, Tony, you're used to celebrating with food and being sad with food, and just everything, every emotion is connected to food in some way. So find different outlets. Like if I want to celebrate, instead of saying, oh, I did really great, let's order pizza and hang out, it's, hey, let's get some better clothes for me because I need new clothes since everything is like a dress on me right now, or go to, the Broncos are coming to Detroit next season, get some Bronco tickets, finally go see the Broncos play after waiting all these years of, just find different ways of celebrating, or, if you're sad and stressed out, find different ways of dealing with that. That's not food related or any other type of addiction related. It's easy for people to use alcohol in that same way. It's when you're sad and depressed, you turn to alcohol, or if you want to celebrate, you go out for a couple beers or whatever. But it's okay in moderation. But a lot of people, that's how it begins, and before they know it, they're addicted to it, and they cannot control their emotions without it.
Exactly.
Well, do you have anything else? I know you have to go here pretty soon. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Not really. I think we've covered kind of a good swath of stuff. There's a book that my psychologist recommended I read, which I haven't read yet, but it's about mindful eating, which looked interesting. I have it on my list. Let me find it for you. It's called 50 Ways to Soothe Yourself Without Food. And it's by Susan Albers. And apparently it's a really good book that just gives you, like you said, other things instead of looking for food, like when you're stressed and looking, for things to do. So I definitely want to give that one. So it's how to end the dependence on eating as a coping mechanism. So I think that sounds really interesting.
Oh, wow. I'll have to check that out. All right, brother. Well, I'm glad that you joined me today. I know we didn't have any set topic to talk about. We were just kind of shooting the breeze and catching up on each other's diets and stuff. So,
yeah, thanks for gracing me with your beauty. It's just radiant as always.
Well, of course, you can always come on, and you're always
with
welcome.
your flowing locks. I mean, we are hair twins.
Yeah. What you're losing out on in hair is what it is my gain. So
Perfect.
no, I'm
Looks
growing it on
like
the
we
top,
had,
and you're growing it on the face. So
yeah, Ed Dog joined us for the first time, so that's neat.
catch a stream. I wanted to say thank you for keeping me in track with my weight loss journey. I've gone from 286 to 210 as of January 3rd. Goal is 175. Well, that's awesome, Ed Dog. That's pretty awesome. I'm so glad that I inspire people. I just feel bad whenever I'm struggling with it a little bit because people are like, "Oh, Big T, you're really inspired me. I'm doing great," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not doing great right now, so I don't know how I'm inspiring people." But just
Vlad, just to commiserate about bald guys having it the worst. One thing that people don't realize is, so for you with hair, if you sweat, your hair absorbs it, or if it's raining, your hair absorbs some of it. When you're bald, you just get sweat, you get rain that you just have to like meh, meh, and shine off, and it is the worst.
all right, Mr. D, I appreciate you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks you all for hanging out with us. It was some good conversation. I got some good ideas myself, and I'll be back later at some time to chat with you all.
All right, man, have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Right, bye. All right, so it's just going to be me for a little bit, guys. Just hanging out with a little bit if you want to. I'm just going to play around with the software a little bit. It's brand new software. It's called Restream. Starzan turned me on to it, so I'm just going to kind of play around with it and chat with you guys a little longer if you want me to. So how's everybody doing? Anybody having any plans this weekend? You doing anything fun? No, Derek's the worst. I mean, absolutely. He's not cool at all. I'm going to scoot up for a second. So hang on just 1 second. All right, I'm back. It's like as soon as I start a stream, I just kind of slowly sink down as my back hurts really bad sitting in a position for too long. So I just kind of slowly sink and move out just to kind of give myself relief throughout a stream. And so I ended up slid all the way down, and now I got to sit back up, and the process starts over again. This week, my allergies is really kicked up too. Do you guys get spring allergies? A lot of people it hits early on, but for me, it hits later on. Like everything's grown out there, but this is about the time when my allergies kick in. So, those of you who have allergies, do you get them early on in the spring season, later on? Oh, thanks, Chandra. I appreciate that. Sorry to hear that you had multiple back surgeries. I still feel like my back is still just dealing with my weight, just years of all that weight and pressure on them. And then now it's now that even though I've lost a lot of weight, it's still a lot of pressure, and they've been dealing with it. That's why I talk about these issues and the dangers of obesity, because it's like even if you lose a lot of weight, you're still dealing with the consequences. Oh, Penguin, you have year-round allergies. That sucks. Just gonna check out some of these backgrounds here. I don't know if it's showing up. Well, you better be sorry, Barbara. I come on here and I get on live and you're not even here. I mean, we cried for 5 minutes because you weren't here. No, it's totally fine. I'm glad you can join us. Better late than never, as they say. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to have to build up some core muscles. Like I said, I've been almost bedridden for 10 years. So now that I'm working in an office, it's been difficult adjusting to that. But at the same time, just your body's still not meant, even at almost 500 pounds, to be, holding up all that weight. So it'll get better the more weight that I lose and stuff like that. But my mom is getting a little better every day. Thank you for asking. She's getting better every day. She, for those of you who don't know, she broke her wrist. She fell down the stairs, and so she broke her wrist. She messed up her back really bad, her right shoulder. So, but she is getting better. My job allowed me to stay home this week and work from home, so I'm very thankful for that. But I go back to the office on Monday, so I'm thankful for them, and I'm thankful for those of you who've been praying for her. I appreciate that. Just hang on here as I test some stuff. Well, thanks for popping in, the Walking Wrinkle. That's a cool name. Trying to figure out, like there's a cool background, but I don't think you guys can see it right now. So I'm trying to get that to pop up here. Maybe I gotta do something else, like switch to that. No. There we go. Can you guys see the cool flowing background now? Awesome. I like it. Thank you. I am pretty. I do work out, so. Yeah, I just feel calling towards ministry, Carol. And I don't need a degree to become a pastor and do that type of work, but it really helps, especially if you want to do it for full time. So I don't know. If it's something where I'm just doing YouTube full time and YouTube is my main job, but I'm also a pastor on the side, then I probably don't need a degree for that. But if I do decide to do full time ministry, a degree helps. So I'm still like not 100% sure. I'm still working on that, trying to figure out the best course of action. I mean, it's going to be 3.5 years, and I'm almost 40. And I'm not saying if you're 40, your life's done and you can't go back to school, but it's like working full time, doing YouTube part time. I'm teaching Sunday school. And I hope to get a girlfriend here soon. Like that's going to take up time. And going to school on top of all of that is it's going to be very, very difficult. So I don't even know if it's going to be worth it at this point. Or not. I don't know. Oh, Benita, I totally forgot about my Q&A video. Maybe I'll do my next chat will be Q&A. How about that? I'll do a Q&A live stream next Saturday. I might have Scout with me if I can get her on. I mean, yeah, you could definitely get a degree when you're older. That's not really what I meant. It's just it would have been much easier to get when my life wasn't packed with so much stuff. Now that you're working full time, I'm doing YouTube, I'm doing ministry, all that stuff. Like I don't have any free time hardly right now. But then if I add going back to school on top of that, that's really going to suck up all my free time. So it's not that I value free time over everything, but I'm going to wear myself thin big time. So it would have been much easier to have stayed with it when I was in my 20s and graduated like everybody else did. But yeah, that's just that's difficult. So what's everybody else up to today? Yeah, I gotta focus on my health first, for sure. Yeah, I promise, Carol. Next week, next Saturday, Q&A live stream. I might have Scout with me. I'll ask her. She is working, so she's working this summer. So I don't know if I can get her on. It just depends on the time. Maybe if it's in the evening, it probably won't be a big deal, depending on what her schedule is. But that's true, Vlad. My health is my wealth, and I just can't overdo it. Like mentally, I'm already exhausted. Physically too, and just adding school, I don't know. I feel like I'm talking myself out of it. I was like super excited about going back to school, but that was before I got this job. I was thinking I'd be able to write and pay some of my bills, do YouTube, and then go to college. But then once I started working this full time job, I worked from 8 to 5 every single day, Monday through Friday. So adding on several hours per day of studying, and it's an accelerated program that I was going to do. So yeah, that's going to take up all my time. So do you guys have any ideas for videos that you want me to make? Like anything you'd like me to cover, or any fat activist or something like that? I feel like I'm like brand new to this entire thing, and there's people that have been watching a lot of these fat activists for a decade or longer, and I'm just coming in fresh, and I keep getting into trouble because it's like I'll sympathize with somebody and they're like, no, you don't want to sympathize with that person. That person's a manipulator and they're a bad person and you're falling into their trap. And like Amberlyn Reed and stuff like that. Like I told you guys before, many of you know, I made a video about her and I was sympathizing with Amberlyn Reed because I'm like, well, she seems like exactly like me, like someone who struggled with her weight for decades and just couldn't get it to going and keeps failing at it. And so I tried to sympathize with her, and people are like, no, 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 Big T, you do not sympathize with Amberlyn Reed. Like there is some real hatred for Amberlyn Reed. And so I ended up deleting my video after 5 minutes because people just did not get what I was trying to get out. But yeah, student loans. I have like 3K in student loan debt. So the government is doing what's called a Fresh Start program. So that's how I'm able to go back to school, because I had defaulted on my loans. But if you join the Fresh Start program, it's giving you an opportunity to like refresh your loan so that you can go back to school if you wanted to. So That's just something that I'm working on. I'm thinking about. Like I did sign up to join the refresh program or the fresh start program. I'm gonna have to start paying on those loans again, but if I do go back to school, I will have to take out student loans. I cannot afford it without it. So, well, thank you, Carol. I'm still figuring it out. Like, I am surprised, honestly, and this isn't false humility at all. Like, I had no idea my channel would blow up like it has. I had no idea people would find me to be an inspiration, that I would have followers and subscribers and people would love my stuff. Like, I had no idea that was going to happen. I thought it would be a year or more to even get 1,000 subs. um, yeah, it's just growing like crazy. And there are times I'm like, like recently, I just thought that my channel peaked. I'm like, everything's slowing down. I'm not getting the amount of subscribers I did before. I'm not getting the amount of views I was doing before. Things are really slowing down. And I was like, I wonder if my channel peaked. I just don't have anything else to talk about. But people keep encouraging me and saying, just keep going, Big T. Like, your channel is really great. I love it. You inspire me, everything else. And so, yeah, I just keep going. And I keep looking, I keep researching, and there's always something new to talk about. Because I feel like if I'm not doing my 600-pound life reactions, I just think people aren't really that interested in what I have to say. You know, if I do a my 600-pound life reaction, I get like 10K views. But if I talk about anything else, fat activism, or even my own diet, if I talk about myself, I get like 500 to 1,000 views. But if I talk about fat activism, maybe 2,000 to 3,000 views. But my 600-pound life is like, I always get a lot. So it's very different. Yeah, that's why I sort of sympathized with her, Ed Dog, is like people would tell me the same thing. If you guys knew me, like, I swear, like just what I've seen from a few of her videos, she is no different than me. All right, it looks like she's been struggling and trying for the last 10 years and failing, and people keep saying, well, she's not trying. Well, that was me for 20 years. Like, just constantly struggling and failing, and hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to join this program, I'm going to get my weight loss surgery. Like, I was going to do that 10 years ago, and I just ended up not doing it because I got scared. And I made up all kinds of excuses about it and just didn't end up doing it. And so it did take some figuring out, like when I talk about how it's all a mental battle. So figuring the mental part out, I was able to be successful this time and get it figured out. But yeah, I was Amberlyn Reed for 20 years. And so I understand exactly where she's coming from. And a lot of her critics do not understand where she's coming from. And so they have this intense hate for her, and they say she's not trying or anything else like that. It's like, unless you're walking a mile in her shoes and you've been there, you can't really say that. And I know people are going to hate on me for even saying this, but I have been in her shoes. I understand where she's coming from. And, you know, if she is manipulating people for views and clicks or whatever, then yeah, that's a bad thing. She shouldn't be doing that. So I don't know her well enough to say that she's doing that, but I've watched her struggle. I know what it's like to fail and fail and fail again, to keep gaining weight no matter what you try, and just having all kinds of criticism poured all over you because you're not perfect, because you're struggling with your weight. I've absolutely been there. So, oh, thank you, Marilyn. I'm glad you think I'm a great person. I try. Fat people need wheelchairs like babies need strollers. Jordan Hall. I'll have to look that up. All right. I typed it in there. So I'll come back to it. Oh, my back. Yeah, Carol. That's a lot of what this is me bringing in guests. That's what Big Talks is to talk with other people. I've had some great guests. So um, thank you, Barbara. I'm glad that you like my videos. Yeah, I'm succeeding now, Marilyn, but I failed for 20 years. Like I feel like I wasted 20 years of my life. Um, so I'm succeeding now, but I wasn't. And so if she gets to a point where she figures it out, it might take her 20 years like it took me 20 years. So far, she's been doing it for 10 years. So it might be another 5 to 10 years before she figures it out. I don't know. But it does look like she's trying. Again, if she's totally manipulating people like me and everybody else, and she's not really trying, she's not really struggling with it, she is lying about everything so that she can get clicks and views, then I will totally recant. Like I will totally say I was wrong. And I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I just see a lot of myself in her. I see a lot of the same struggles, a lot of the same failures. I see, even though starting out the year saying I'm going to be great, this is my year, but end up gaining more weight by the end of the year and being a complete wash and all that stuff. I've dealt with all of that. That has been my existence for the last 20 years. I've been there. So I just see a lot of that in her. But again, I could be wrong. Yeah, I mean, just to go to the bathroom, like my bathroom is right there. It's attached to my bedroom. Just to go to the bathroom, it's 5 steps, 10 steps. I would be out of breath. I would be sucking in air, unable to even go to the bathroom on my own. So to go out to my truck, like I would be completely out of breath and just ready to collapse, just walking a few steps. So yeah, it is possible to get so big that you need a wheelchair. And a lot of them do. Like Tammy always needed a wheelchair. She wouldn't even walk 5 feet. Like, well, thanks, Carol. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that the algorithm helped you find me. I've always hoped that the algorithm was on my side, but there's times where I think it's not on my side. I keep thinking that YouTube doesn't like a lot of what I have to say. So my throat is sore from my allergies. Welcome, Fleetwood Mac and Cheese. I'm glad that you're here anyways. Better late than never. Yes, certainly, Barbara. I did learn a lot. I did eventually figure it out, and I learned from my experiences and stuff like that. Um, but that's also why I'm more sympathetic with people like Amberlyn Reed or others, is because I know it took me 20 years, and it might take other people 20 years. It might take some people 30 years. It might take some people 5 years. Some people never figured out and they die from their obesity, which I'm hoping doesn't happen to me. So everybody's different. Everybody learns at different rates. And so I try to be understanding and sympathetic, but also being tough, showing that tough love and drawing a line and saying, hey, listen, you are fat because of what you did to yourself. Whatever that reason is, it's not to say that I hate you. It's to say that I love you and I care about you. And you need to realize what you're doing to yourself is harmful. You are killing yourself. And if you don't fix it, if you don't change, you are going to die from it. And so it's like, if we see somebody who is self-harming, who is killing themselves, who is in danger, it is love to warn them. They say that it's hatred to warn them, but it's not hatred. Hatred is not saying anything at all, right? Hatred is saying you can do what you want to do. I don't care. Live your life how you want to live your life. And I often get those comments like, Big T, just let people live how they want to live and do what they want to do. I'm like, you can do whatever you want to do. Live your life how you want to live your life. That's your decision. But if I see you are in danger, it is hatred for me not to say something about it. Like, you would not let somebody just harm themselves and kill themselves without saying something, without trying to stop them, without trying to intervene in some way. So this whole fat phobic thing, and if you try to lose weight, it's fat phobic and you just hate fat people. No, there's no hatred of fat people here. I hate my fat body. I want to be smaller. I want to look better. I want to attract a woman. I want to get married and have kids. I want to be able to work a job. I want to do all these things that I can't do because I'm fat. So it's like, you know, talking about mukbangs, critiquing them is interesting. Do you think some of us who got so heavy were punishing ourselves, feeling like we are undeserving to be healthy? I think obesity is a type of self-harm. I really do. Whether it's intentional or not, but I do think a lot of it stems from you were hurt in your past. Maybe you went through some sort of trauma, and so you use food to cope. Or let's say you were like me. I was physically, mentally, and sexually abused most of my life. And so food was a coping mechanism, but also I've had somebody like my own sister tell me that I got big so that people wouldn't mess with me anymore. Because when you're big, nobody messes with you because you can beat them up. Like, nobody's going to mess with me because I'm big. You know, it's just one of those things. So, but if you're sexually abused, like, you might think, well, if I become fat and ugly, then they're not going to touch me anymore. They're not going to find me desirable. So I don't think people get big to punish themselves. I think there's just a variety of reasons why, and I think the bigness is a symptom of something else. It's an addiction. It's trauma. It's coping. It's using food for all kinds of emotions. Like, if you're an emotional eater, the bigness, the fatness is the result of something else. It's a symptom that there's something else going on up here. But when you get to a point that you're 4, 5, 600 pounds or heavier, it gets to a point where you are self-harming. You may not even realize it yet, but I think everybody who's that big understands that they are harming themselves in some way. Like, watch my last video. I clipped in people from my 600-pound life saying, I'm going to die if I don't fix this. I'm completely miserable. I'm in pain. And this and that. And so many people are like, how can you get that big and not do something about it? But you are harming yourself. You know you're going to die if you don't stop. You know you're going to deal with this illness or this misery or this pain if you don't stop, if you don't get it figured out. So it is a type of self-harm, but I think the weight is just a symptom of something else bigger up in here. That's my view on it. Exactly, Fleetwood Mac and cheese. They don't say that to alcoholics. They don't say that to drug addicts. They don't say that to sex addicts. They don't say it to anybody else but food. I mean, it's like if you're fat, you can't say nothing. There's this hands-off approach to it. Like, just let them live their lives. Let them enjoy food. Like, in my last video, there's that one person eating the taco, and she's like, so you see a fat person just happy and living their lives and eating what they want, but you got to say something about it. It's like, okay, well, you're equating food with happiness. You don't think that's an issue? Like, food is meant to nourish our body. Like, food isn't meant to be some sort of celebration. I mean, it gives us good vibes. We use comfort food to help comfort us. We use food to help us celebrate for birthdays. We use food to help us during the holidays. Like, a big part of the holiday season and gathering with people is desserts and treats and dinners and Christmas snacks and cookies and candy and all that stuff. So food is a huge part of our life, and we're not going to escape it. But when it comes to it being an addiction, it means we are not doing it in moderation. We are going above and beyond with it, and it's destroying our lives, just like any other drug. You can have a few beers after work. That's not a big deal. But if you're having 10 beers a day because you can't stop drinking, that's a problem. I don't have a problem if you want to smoke some marijuana. Big deal. But if you're just completely stoned all day and you're driving stoned and you're risking the lives of other people, that's a problem. And they say there's no such thing as a marijuana addiction. I completely disagree with that. I believe you can become addicted to any substance. It's not likely. You could probably stop smoking marijuana, but I know several people who tried to stop and couldn't stop because they just were used to that pleasure feeling. So anything can become an addiction that gives you a pleasure because it sort of rewires the pleasure centers of your brain, and you start to rely on it to give you pleasure. But you can disagree with that if you want to about marijuana being an addiction. But when it comes to anything else, food is the same way. It's okay in moderation. You can go celebrate with your family. You can have that piece of cake. You can have a Christmas dinner and dessert and your apple pie and all that stuff. Enjoy yourself. But if you go above and beyond and you're starting to gain weight and you're 100 pounds overweight and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, that's a problem that needs to be solved, right? Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Penguin, that you got fat so that you wouldn't be abused anymore. But that's a common story. That's very common. A lot of people get big so that they won't be abused anymore. Well, thank you, Marilyn. I really appreciate that. And I'm so glad that I have people telling me that because it's hard for me to believe it sometimes. It honestly is. I've waited so long. I'm almost 40 years old. I've never been in a real relationship. I've never had sex. I've never had a girlfriend. I've never had I've had a few jobs, but I haven't had a real 9 to 5 job until just now. This job that I have. I punch out, I punch in, I get paid on a regular basis. Like, that's cool. I didn't have a job like that before. So things are starting to change for the better, but I'm eager to be in a relationship and have kids and be married. And, I've wanted to be a pastor for over 17 years now. And I've really tried to do that. But my weight has always gotten in the way of everything I've ever wanted to do. So I'm glad that you believe in me. But after waiting so long, it's very easy for me to doubt some of those things are going to come into my life. But I really hope it does. Yeah, that's true, Vlad. I mean, they use it as an armor, but they also say it's like a big hug. It's their wave of comfort. Like they're just miserable. Every other part of their life is miserable until they take that first bite of food, and then they just can't stop eating because it's like with any other drug. It's like, yeah, you feel good while you're eating, but as soon as you stop eating, that pleasure goes away. Just like if you take some Vicodin or something, you're gonna feel good for a little bit, but it's gonna go away, right? I'm so sorry to hear that you lost your mom, Vlad. But yeah, my mom's the same way. She's a smoker, she's a drinker, and I keep trying to talk to her about it. But all right, I got to sit up again. All right, that's better. Did you guys notice me start to just slink down into the seat? No. All right. Yeah, I agree, Penguin. If you drive drunk or stoned, you should go to jail for that. I mean, that's uncalled for. You could do what you want to do, but weed is illegal here in Michigan. I don't care if people smoke. I take edibles on occasion because they help my pain. But if you're going to risk other people's lives, that's where I draw the line right there. You shouldn't risk other people's life. Hang on one second. Sorry, guys, I'm back. I'm gonna try to catch up here on the chat. My mom's going to her boyfriend's house, even though she fell down his stairs a few days ago. She's going back over there. And I was gonna make spaghetti first tonight and everything, and but I guess that's tomorrow. Yeah, anytime that I did marijuana, it made my food problem worse because it always made me hungry and get the munchies. And yeah, I was just talking to my mom, Marilyn. I don't know if you guys just heard our conversation. I muted the mic, but I don't know if that turned it off or not, but I was like, why are you going over there? You just fell down there and broke your wrist a few days ago, and you're going back over there. And we had plans for dinner tonight and everything else. It's like, I get frustrated sometimes. I just hope that she doesn't drink. Promise not to cut your hair until you've lost as much weight as you want. Do you guys really like my hair that much being long? This is the first time in my life I've grown my hair out like this. I've grown it out before and I dyed it blonde, if you can believe it, but it wasn't like half as long as this is. So apparently you guys like my long hair because I get a lot of compliments on it. People do not want me to cut it at all. In Tennessee, it takes 4 DUIs to get 1 Class C felony. Caught with weed regardless of driving, straight to felony. It's sick. Truck drivers are abhorrent. Yeah, they need to treat alcohol like it's worse. I really do think alcohol is worse. And if you drink, like I'm okay with a casual drinker. Before my weight loss surgery, I had the occasional whiskey. I love Jameson whiskey. That's the only alcohol that I drank. I don't drink beer. I think it's gross. But there is a moral component to it. Like there's just so many people who drink their lives away. It's very, very addictive. I think it's more addictive and worse for you than pain medication, and yet they completely restrict that. Like some people break bones and can't get pain medication. Some doctors just prescribe it regardless. Like you don't even need proof of anything. Some people will prescribe it. But to treat marijuana worse than beer, I don't agree with that. For one, beer is a toxin. All right. Alcohol is toxic to your system, it's toxic to your liver. But again, if you're the casual drinker, I have no problem with that. I'm not trying to like, yell at people or nothing here for what they choose to do. But for you to get 4 DUIs to get a felony, but then caught with weed, that's an automatic felony. Weed is like harmless to me. Again, unless you're driving high, I don't care. It's almost harmless. It does cause munchies. You can get some sort of psychosis with it, but it's more of a natural substance, You're a hair lady and you like my hair. Well, I'm glad. I'll keep growing it out then. It does bother me though, especially when I drive. Like it's shorter here on top. It's long, but if I try to like make a ponytail out of it, it's not long enough to reach. I mean, I guess it does, but yeah, to make a ponytail or something so that I can drive and it not bother me. It's like the very top is not really long enough. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. I'm also thinking about like shaving the sides. Like I know that it's a recent style for some guys with long hair to like shave the sides and then just keep the top long. I don't know. I'm thinking about what to do with it. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Ed, that you lost the genetic lottery. My dad was the same way. I mean, I remember he went gray and started losing his hair really young. And so if he was alive today, he'd probably be jealous that I still have long black hair. If you guys have any questions for me, I'll probably be on another 10 minutes or so, and then I'll go. So I'm just hanging out with you guys a little bit. But if you have any questions for me, go ahead and ask. Hi, Jackie. Good to see you. I had the sleeve surgery. My doctor wanted to do both surgeries on me. He wanted to do the sleeve first because it was less risky, and the results aren't as good as the bypass. I mean, the results are good with sleeve, but the bypass, you lose more weight. And so the sleeve surgery, it's less risky and it's not as good as the bypass. So he wanted to do the sleeve first, and after I lose a couple 100 pounds, he wanted me to do the bypass. I don't know if I'm going to do the bypass or not. I'm going to wait and see. Um, it's one thing to have 90% of my stomach cut out, and now I have a small stomach, but to completely bypass my stomach, I don't know how that's going to be. And dumping syndrome is a lot more common for bypass than it is for sleeve. I haven't had, I maybe have had dumping syndrome once or twice, but it's nowhere near as bad with the sleeve as it is the bypass. So, but the bypass will force me to be more strict, whereas with the sleeve you can stretch your stomach back out. So I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting. When you debunk excuses for overeating or being overweight and share your experiences, it helps viewers who may be struggling with food addiction. Yeah, I think my message is very important today because there's a whole wave of counter and misinformation. Like, it's bad just saying how, like, it was probably yesterday's video saying how there's no such thing as healthy food or unhealthy food. It's just food. Like, really? Seriously? You really don't think there's unhealthy food out there? It's just food. There's no food with chemicals and preservatives. There's no food with sugar. There's no food with all this stuff that's causing all this harm. Really? Versus healthy food that's good and nutritious for your body. There's some food that has no nutritional value whatsoever or has a negative impact. And then there's food that's really good for you. So I think it's important to really have somebody who's been through that, who's been almost 700 pounds, who can say, listen, there is such thing as bad food. Obesity is not a good thing. Being fat is not a good thing. I don't care what they say. Those fat activists can shout and scream as much as they want. They can call me fat phobic. But as I said in yesterday's video, it's okay to be fat phobic, because if me trying to actively lose weight makes me fat phobic, then that's fine. I'm fat phobic. I don't care. Call me whatever you want to call me. I've been there. I've experienced it. And I'm telling you, being fat is not good. Okay. And yeah, I'm mostly talking about having hundreds of extra pounds to lose, but even being 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight is not good for you. Just like my best friend was 50 pounds overweight, and you could look at him and not tell that he had any issue with his weight, but he was dealing with high blood pressure. He was dealing with severe sleep apnea. He was dealing with all kinds of issues, just being slightly overweight. So, yeah, I mean, you don't have to be 100 pounds overweight to feel the consequences of your obesity. Even just a little bit of extra weight on you is going to complicate your life in some way. Maybe not right away, and it does take some time, but once those complications start hitting, it's like life is going to be very difficult for you. And then it's on everybody else to take care of you. And a lot of these fat activists are like, well, I don't owe my health to anybody. Really? You don't think you owe it to your kids if you're a parent to be in the best shape that you can be in, so you can play with your kid, so you're not sick all the time, you're not tired all the time, you're actually able to sleep at night? You don't think you owe your spouse any kind of health so that you can be a good spouse? You don't think intimacy takes a hit when you're bigger? Like, really? Like, I just fully admitted that I've never had sex before, and I'm almost 40 years old. All right. Like, yeah, my size has impacted my ability to be intimate with people. So I'm looking forward to that when I lose weight and I can get married and have an intimate relationship with somebody. Like, it has impacted my life in so many ways. I've lost out on 20 years of my life, and those are the best years of my life that I'm never, ever getting back. Never. Due to my obesity, due to my choices that I made. I put food above everything else. So I know better than anybody the dangers of obesity and what it does to people. And so I'm going to keep shouting and I'm going to keep screaming back at them that they are complete ignorant fools who have no idea what they're doing to themselves. There are different types of Ensure. The one that I had was the max protein, and it had like 2 grams of sugar in it. So maybe 2 or 3, something like that. So no, it didn't impact me. There are other kinds of Ensure that do have more sugar in it. So I would avoid that. If you're trying to lose weight, get the max protein because you need the protein. And there's very limited sugar in it, very limited carbs in it, and it's only 150 calories, so it works out perfect. So that's the kind that I would recommend. But there are some Ensures that are meant to be meal replacements that are high calorie, high carb, high sugar that I would avoid if you're trying to lose weight. And a lot of those are meant for like older people who do not get to eat a lot of food, and so they kind of need to gain weight. So that's what a lot of those Ensures are for. So if you're trying to lose weight, I recommend the max protein or protein max or whatever it is. Yeah, Val, that's true. Alcohol and water is the same. Yeah, there's a New Zealand family on watch on YouTube. Your New Zealand family or something, whatever they're called, and it's weird. Like they try to eat like the U.S. because it's like people keep sending them stuff all the time, and they keep trying to make the same meals that we have, and it's just amazing. Like some of it is the same, but they're like, wow, this food from the U.S. is a lot more sweet than the food that we get in New Zealand. Like even snacks, even sodas and treats and desserts and stuff like that, nowhere near as sweet as it is in the U.S. So there's definitely an entire food industry that's designed to keep us hooked big time. Like Lay's potato chips. You know, their tagline used to be, "I bet you can't eat just one." There's a reason for that. They're addictive to you because they're just full of stuff designed to make you keep eating, and you can't stop eating it, even when you get full. Exactly. Just being 50 pounds overweight can make you feel miserable. You don't have to be 100, 200, 300 pounds overweight. Just being 50 pounds overweight, being 20 pounds overweight. My friend Scout, like she lost a good amount of weight. I think she said she lost 30 pounds. And her knees still bother her. She's freaking 17 years old and her knees bother her because she had an extra 30 pounds of weight on her. Even though she lost that weight, her knees still bother her. So you don't have to be older to feel the complications of your obesity. You can be 17 years old and be only 30 pounds overweight and still deal with it. Yeah, one of my subscribers sent me a bunch of protein. I absolutely forgot about it. So that's something I'm going to be able to do too if I remember. I hope it tastes good. I'm going to have to taste it, but yeah, I'm going to have to use more protein powder and stuff. I mean, if you're able to take that Ensure back, definitely do it. Don't drink it, or maybe donate it to an older person if you know that they drink Ensure, because it can be expensive. But I would definitely take it back if not, and switch it out for the max protein. Yeah, I mean, I often talk about how, you know, a lot of these fat activists are still young, and they're just now encountering the issues with their obesity. Like, they are starting to get more pain in their body. They're starting to get more out of breath. It's starting to hurt them in so many different ways, but like, it hasn't hit them to the point yet where they're starting to realize, oh wow, maybe I should lose some weight. Like, they're still trying to create excuses for themselves. But yeah, you could be 25 years old and realize that your weight is making your body fall apart and you're in pain 24/7. I mean, it's just, even after losing 200 pounds, I'm in pain because my body was wrecked by my size. My knees, my back, my shoulders, my neck, my ankles, they all hurt me all the time. But all right, guys, I think I'm going to end the stream here. I'm going to go do something and just kind of relax for the rest of my day off here. So I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate Derek joining me. I'm glad that you guys, that this Restream works, the software works. I've been looking and looking and looking for a good system. I was using Zoom and it absolutely sucked. So I'm glad that Restream is working. And it works great. I'm glad I'm able to like click on comments and they show up and we can get a cool background and all that stuff. So looks like I'm going to be using it. It was $19 per month. I mean, they do have a free version, but I wanted all the bells and whistles, so I upgraded to the $19 a month. Zoom was like $15 a month, so this is only a few dollars more. But if it's got all this cool stuff, then I'll definitely keep investing in it. I'll probably do more live streams with it. I didn't do many live streams because, again, Zoom and all the other ones sucked and I didn't feel like the quality was that good. But since this is working pretty good, I will keep doing it, guys. So appreciate you guys. Remember, if you would like to financially support the channel, in my videos and my descriptions, there's links to my PayPal. I would move you over to Patreon, but I'm probably going to shut down my Patreon. I don't know yet. I just not have the time to create extra special content for my Patreon. So I feel bad that there are people donating to my Patreon, but I haven't put content over there lately. So you can go over there and become a Patreon supporter if you want to. The link is down in my descriptions. But if you want to financially support me and the channel, my PayPal link is the best way to do that. Also, I have a Discord, I have a Facebook, I have a Twitter, and I have an email. You can email me at bigtbariatric@gmail.com if you want to shoot the crap with me. Just have a conversation. If you disagree with me on something, you want to have a conversation. If you just want to tell me how much you love my channel. If you have a suggestion or something you want me to react to, send me an email. Like, that's the best way to contact me. So yeah, there's lots of ways to become a part of the Big T Bariatric family, whether you want to support us financially or you have an idea or you just want to, even if you want to come on Big Talks with Big T with me. I love having guests on here. So definitely send me an email and say that you're interested in joining me. But either way, I appreciate you guys very, very much. I love you all. And I'll see you guys next time. My next video will be on Monday, 9 a.m. Look for